Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back for everybody who's been tuning in. Guys, we were doing some Helldivers. We're jumping over. I wanted to talk about this. I found out about this yesterday. Daedric Doge, as many of you know, Daedric turned me on to this. I had no idea. We were getting a new trial on Monday, which is like, again, I felt like seriously bearing the lead. Really excited about this. And I didn't have time to talk about it yesterday because of, just ran out of time and what have you. So, also, let me make sure I get the chat bot going back up. There we go. Cool. All right, Mr. Krill, thanks, man. Don, I appreciate you getting on board with having at least 4 names that I know you by. So thank you. No, seriously, I don't care. But it's just funny because it's like, oh, everybody's got 6 names. I got to remember who everybody is. I'm doing pretty good though. So we're gonna talk about we're getting a new trial. It's somewhere in this. I was sent this link, and I'm still struggling to find it. So we might read through some of these comments because I mean, it's the ESO forums. It's got to be fun, right? Also, are we doing okay on Twitch? Twitch is looking like it's struggling for a second. Are we good? We good, Twitch? No, we're good. Okay. Just had to hit a little refresh. It was just circling like nothing was happening. All right, cool. So let me see. We got some we got some folks chatting. I don't know. Let's just read through this because I've seriously skimmed it a couple times and I still can't find it. And I had someone send me directly the quote that's important, but I just want to find it from one of the ZOS team members. So let me see. I guess the question is: would you rather have a repeat of last year's quality of content at the same price or higher, or would you rather have a lighter year of content that you don't have to pay for? I don't know that, like, I just want to say the current content, I understand there's some people that are just in love with dungeons. We have, like, how many dungeons in ESO? Like, it's over 50, almost certainly, right? Like, we've got just a ridiculous number of dungeons already. And again, apologies for the blinding light here. Yeah, uh, it is a little blinding, but yeah, we don't need more dungeons in the game. You know, we just don't. And this person is replying, and this is also something on a per person basis. 2025's year of content was incredibly lazy, except for the people who like dungeons. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, since they managed to go back up to 4 in the year. 2023 and 2024 only had 1 set, and those were some of the best dungeons we've had in game. Only 1 set. Like, don't we get like 2 every quarter? Always keeping me on my toes. Yeah. Don't we normally get 2 every quarter? Isn't that what it is? I quit doing them because I can just run through them, man. I just get a couple of like it. It's kind of like the same deal with Helldivers a little bit, where like, yeah, you can make it harder by like not using the stuff they give you. So like you can go into dungeons mostly naked or using, low level gear or whatever, gear without any like just plain gear with literally no gear sets. But that's not really fun, is it, right? Like, you can create your own fun, I guess, if you really want to, but I don't want to try that hard. I want the games company to make it fun for me, right? And in new and interesting ways, not just by me nerfing myself. And so with these dungeons, like I just even on hard modes, do you go in there? DPS is so high right now. Go in there with 3 DPS, 1 tank, because that's how we like to run, and you just murder everything in like 2 seconds. And it's a thing. I have friends that still really like to do it, but for me, it's just not that enjoyable. Cool. Those are some of the best dungeons we've had in game. And I did like enjoy some of the mechanics on them, but again, when the content is trivially easy and you just can burn through mechanics, it's it just takes a lot of the fun away from me. So it's a question of, do you want 2025's quality of dungeons? Absolutely. The question is, do you want 2025's quality of server-wide content? Hard pass. Okay. I mean, this is fairly based. Well, we're getting server-wide temporary event zones in 2026 and not the dungeons. Yeah, I mean, again, we have so many dungeons, guys. Like, we don't need more dungeons. People have to burn through them fairly quickly. Hey, Luna, there are fairly difficult hard mode dungeons. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a couple. Maybe some of the newer ones, but I mean, most of them. And if you go 3 DPS, 1 tank, still difficult, Luna? With the DPS creep? Because there used to be more. I was doing them for a while before the DPS got shot up. And then all the dungeons that came out before DPS got shut up are now trivially easy. All the ones that I'm aware of. So I don't know. Maybe there's a couple. I'd say it's a step behind Trials for sure, but some of them were hard enough to be fun. Yeah. Part of this also looking at the quality of different ESO teams. Dungeon Team is the only one that had consistently knocked it out of the park. Every other team, the dungeons also are like problematic for as like a not just looking as an individual player, but just like looking at them. There's again like literally there's got to be 50 of them, if not more. And you have no way of knowing which ones you should go in, which ones are hard without just going into them. And that's not really great for like a new player experience. It's like, here's an unsorted list of 75 things. And it's like, that's not really helpful. And you don't know the difference between Fungal Grotto or, I don't know, one of the newer, harder ones. I'm trying to think of a name. But like, you just don't know, Unhollowed Grave or something, right? Which is not that hard if you got the DPS for it. What's up, Frog? What's going on? Sometimes one tank 3 DPS will make it harder, but more optimal. I mean, I'd be here for that. Honestly, the majority of the issue comes from players doing way too much DPS, and then if you have layer organized groups doing way more than that, 3-second dungeons with no mechs. Yeah, and that's the vast majority of them. Like, because Luna, you can't be talking about more than 4 dungeons. Right? Because that just doesn't. I mean, at most, maybe 8 at the absolute most, which is cool, but, what do you do when you get through them? And again, there's like 75, so that's like 10% or something. I don't know. And they all have hard modes, they all have higher difficulties. It's just that they increase the DPS at somewhere, and all the dungeons before that were designed for way lower DPS. Like DPS is literally doubled for most of them, if not more. Yeah, that's true. The real challenging ones are very few. Yeah. It's funny that you couldn't name a second dungeon in contrast to Fungal Grotto. I finally did Unhollowed Grave, which is still fairly old at this point, because I've done some of the newer ones, but I literally did them once when they first came out, did them on hard mode, and then was like, all right, cool, and then kind of moved on with my life. Unhollowed was amazing when it dropped. If they're too easy, just go 4 healers. Well, that's kind of the thing I was talking about. Is like it will take forever. Yeah, it's like we could nerf ourselves, but that's not really fun, is it? Like, part of the fun of games is like, I got this new gear, I got this new thing, I got, I got my character set up or whatever. And it's also, I understand that a lot of this is me. Like, I like playing optimally. That is part of the fun. Figuring out how to optimize a game is like part of the fun for me. Going like, oh, looking at this thing and okay, I could grab this skill line and move it here, but that's the fun for a lot of us. They can nerf players' DPS back to 30 or 40k for high-end players, or make bosses HP times 100. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I'll also say, like, some of the dungeons have really cool mechanics. I would love to see that in Trials, too, I love Trials because it's that group organization aspect of it. I always like the larger group content. I don't know. For me, that's just incredibly fun. Castle Thorn is very hard because of the boss bugs, and you can't see the safe areas. Luna's like, oh, there's a bug in this one that makes it really hard, Knight. You should do that. So you have to memorize the pattern and kind of follow your teammates who are not bugged. How cool. Oh, man. Gosh, that is like classic Zoss, like difficulty. Lyriel says Luna very glass half full here. Yeah. Oh, God, I hate Castle Thorn. I get so motion sick. Yeah. Years and they haven't fixed that. Yeah. That's the thing too with some of this stuff is like they talk to us about it and they're like, I am glad to hear all the changes, but like fixing all the BS in the game, it's just like, or do it right the first time too. That'd be crazy, right? That'd be wild. I don't know. I'm not trying to give too much hate, but it's pretty egregious is the problem. It's not even that I'm hating. It's just that it is that egregious, and you're just like, guys, what are you doing? But the new team, they seem to be responsive. So it's like we've told them this over and over again. So I've stopped telling them. So I just hope some people that care. I've given Zoss enough of my free time that I just don't do it anymore. Is what it is. Like if they want to pay me for it, that's fine. I don't think they want to afford me, but I'm just not doing it for free anymore. They also need to copy WoW's Mythic Plus system. They're already making their Dark Moon Fair take. I want you to. I can look into that more, Don. If you got anything that's written you want to send me or whatever, I don't think you're going to get me back on WoW to check it out, man. Or if you want to drop anything here, if just to drop some science. I'm not sure what that system is. I quit WoW sometime after Lich King. I think I played with the pandas for a little bit, but not really. I was like, it was like, okay, cool. They're just going full Kung Fu Panda to like play on Disney's, play on Disney's popularity of Kung Fu Panda and to get like a younger generation in or try to. And I mean, I thought it was kind of cool, but then I was also like kind of done with it at that point. Again, at this point, like I can't do tab targeting and I can't do the cartoonish. I could probably get behind the cartoons, the cartoon vibe, but I can't do tab targeting anymore. It's just so weird. It's like in Ashes of Creation is even still doing this with the pseudo tab targeting that I don't like. If I can tab somebody and be faced totally away from them and hit them, like that's just not okay to me. I don't even know if you can do that in Ashes, but I remember playing around with the tabbing and versus action, and I didn't dig it. I know that there's like some amount of people that's what they want or whatever, and they're just going to complain if they don't get it. But I also think they would get over it, and I think that those of us who don't want tab targeting aren't going to get over it because it's just a worse system. It is weird how many MMOs are stuck in the past with their combat systems. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a lot of like, I mean, some people would be like, it's boomers, but I think it's people younger than that who are still like used to the tab targeting or whatever. All right, M plus. Okay, cool. Krill here is going to give us some info about the Mythic Plus that he thinks they should add. All right, M plus, Mythic Plus. Sorry, is I'll try to translate into full. And feel free to use the abbreviations. I'll translate. But is dungeons with affixes which modify how you take on the dungeon, and each level mobs do more damage and have more health. On top of that, you have 30 minutes or less to finish it if you want loot. Oh, okay. If you want loot. So you can go in and practice. That's cool. But then if you want loot, you got to go through and actually do it at a reasonable time. How would you compare that 30-minute time frame, Dawn? Is that hard mode trifecta dungeon territory? Is that, what like how would you compare that? Luna says, have to say ESO still has the best combat from top MMOs in the market. I would agree. Yeah. It's so easy to say. That's so easy to say. It's by far. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, that's what keeps me and a lot of people here, I think. That reminds me of some of the in-game systems I've seen in ARPGs. I agree, Luna. No cooldowns on skills is where it's at. If any other MMO had done this, I would have already tried that as well. Yeah. Yep. Agree. Hard mode trifecta is around. Oh, is that Mythic plus 5, Mythic plus 10? These are arbitrary numbers to me. But what do they go up to, Don? What's the scale here? Mythic plus 30 or? Okay. What do we got here? We get another reply. Okay, I meant that the argument can be used with any type of content that is not coming. No new companions. Players will leave. Companions are still mostly useless. I am glad that people enjoy a different aspect of the game and they can play along and have like a story, having a whole new system where they like and dislike stuff and whatever, I don't know. It's a little bit. I might be a bit biased in this because it's kind of just trying to go hardcore into role playing. Guys, if you want to role play and you want really good role play, do tabletop role playing. It is light years ahead of anything digital. And I don't care if that's Baldur's Gate or anything else. The best, coolest thing on the market, play tabletop. Like you're gonna dig it. If you want role playing, it's just gonna be better. You can find groups. There are a lot of people out there. So it's I don't know about all this. Like the idea that you're just role playing in an MMO, and these are also people that are just solo players. Like how are they interacting? How is it still an MMO? I don't know. I don't agree with this take. No new PvP maps. Players will leave. I mean, what they need to do stuff for PvP, but I think this is a very like just maps. I think there's more to it than that. I think that what they're doing is they actually have. It seems like they're actually having some creativity at ZOS again, and so this person is like, do the same thing you've been doing, or players will leave. And I don't mean to like name call or anything, but this does feel a little bit like a lack of imagination here. I mean, it's no way they can please everyone, and the dungeon crowd is one that definitely got the most content in all of ESO's existence. I mean, that's absolutely right. I agree with that. I would wonder how much the story team spends on companions versus what else they could do with that time too, if they could do something a little bit more original. Oh, we have Zos Gregory here sending someone. I just want to share a link to the roadmap, which shows solo dungeons listed under Season 2. Solo dungeons are awesome. Like, this is something for those solo players. It's something new, but also familiar. They're going to have story mode where you can go in and hear the story of the dungeon, which has been, I mean, that's been a problem since, like, ever, basically, right? Like, some people run through in the dungeon. And, again, 11, 12 years on, they're finally solving this. I mean, that's great. Better late than never, I guess. It's really late, but better late than never. What's a companion, Lyriel says. Lyriel actually knows what a companion is. She probably just has forgotten. It's those guys you can summon and they run around with you, Lyriel, and complain when you do stuff they don't like. I think you got one, didn't you? I have one companion unlocked on one character, and that's it. Oh, you never unlocked those. Okay. It felt grindy and didn't seem very helpful. And they've gotten a little bit better for some things if you kit them out exactly properly. But yeah, they still generally die in any sort of hard content. And they've never solved that problem either, which is, I don't know. Yeah. Usually in WoW, you're good. Usually in WoW, if you're good and you like it, you're a score pusher, I assume, meaning that you can go up to Mythic plus 20 and above. It never stops going. Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. So it just continues to scale with HP and damage and stuff like that. It goes as high as your skill allows. Okay. Yeah. Companions are kind of the same list as Tales of Tribute to me. Not really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would be curious. I know some people are going to love them, but I also feel like some people really loved the fact that Laura Bailey, aka Jester, and many of the other characters she's played, voice one of those. They've gotten really famous people. I assume they have to pay a decent amount for that. I don't know, which is cool. But also, I don't know if that is that the draw that you do. Maybe, I don't know. I guess if enough people like it, but you're going to lose a lot of people if that's all you're doing, because a lot of people don't really engage with the companions, I know. So I don't know what the numbers are, though. I think the TTRPG thing is something generational. Didn't reach newer generations. People prefer much more virtual spaces nowadays. I don't know if that's, I'd say, I actually think it's more popular even by percentages than it's ever been, Luna. It's just such a small group of people. The top role-playing environment is VR chat right now. Well, yeah, you can still do it online, but you could still do it online. The top role-playing environment being VR chat. I gonna strongly disagree there. I mean, it's cool that people are doing whatever they enjoy, but I think a lot you just don't see it because companies aren't monetizing it and there's not like numbers about it. But I think that's I think we can there's ways of how many people buy stuff and what have you. That I think it's a subgenre, you know, and a smaller community. Yeah, I haven't heard Dungeon's story in like 5 years. Oh wow. Oh no, I never unlocked those. It felt grindy and they didn't seem very helpful. There's like conventions for this stuff, and it's kind of weird too because like the digital conventions that I've gone to, there's like tumbleweeds blowing through, and then the tabletop conventions I go to are like packed and sold out, and you can't get in. Um, so, you know, there's still more people playing digital games than tabletop, but it's just a different market. It's a different crowd for sure. Yeah, I haven't. Let me see. Oh yeah, duh, never unlocked those. Yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry, I already read that. If you want someone to follow you around with a snark skill issue, sharp as night is your guy. Okay. I don't want a person. I want a cat or a butterfly companion or something. Oh, there you go. I have Ember as a companion from when I was a newbie, but after some point, it just never needed any assistance since the game is easy, anyways. Yeah. Everyone come to Gen Con 2026 and bother Night Haro in person. That would be amazing, guys. Come. It's in Indianapolis, Indiana. Relatively cheap place to go. I will be there all 4 days, as always, and love to meet up and play games. So if you're ever interested. Also, we're doing TTRPGs normally every Friday. We were going for several weeks. We took this week off. We'll be back this coming week with some sort of TTRPG. It won't always be Friday, so if you're interested, but like Friday doesn't work for you, let me know. Give me a ping in the TTRPG channel. You can self-assign roles in the Discord, and you can self-assign the TTRPG role, and it gives you a really cool-looking mimic guy that you get to have, which I should add to the channel for peeps. You know, I will be doing that at least. Oh, I'll be. It's so nice that Lyriel's coming, and came last year because TTRPG players can actually go out and socialize. Virtual players can't do that. Like, it's funny, Luna, but to tell you the truth, digital players are a more normal segment of society. Everybody plays digital games of some sort, so you get more of a cross section of society. Tabletop players, some of us do look like we crawled out of a cave, a nerd cave, and we're like hissing. Shots fired on our people night. I'm just being honest, okay? Troll cave, yeah. It's actually the opposite of that though. Like, they're actually worse, generally speaking, at socializing. Like, by like a fair margin. Like, I'm not trying to shots fired on my people, but if you're gonna, they're my people. I can say it, you know. Some of us tabletop players have social skills. Yeah. Yes. Some do. Some do. Transparent skin nerds. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, as white as I look right now. This is all lighting, guys. I'm actually very tan. uh, uh, some do, mainly the DMs. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Lyriel. All right. Cool. This is the only. Let me see. All right. So this person's replying. I guess they said something that was important enough. Let me see what else they have to say. This is the only information I have about this matter at the moment, as I am a moderator, not a dev. Oh, this person was a mod. With that said, I do not want to speculate or provide any potential conspiracy theories and misinformation, as that is against community rules. Also, all we can do is wait and see what the future holds. Hope this information helps. That's nice. All right, please review link. So what do we got here? Yeah, I don't. Oh, you gotta love it. Gotta like. What is this? 2026 outlook for Dungeons and Trials. This is from a third. Isn't this a ZOS dev? Oh no, this is a different person. Oh, great. I just clicked on a random thing from somebody. Um, okay, great. I got confused. All right, we're going to skip that then. Let me see. Oh my gosh. You were so close to the point, but continue to miss it. Love it. Love it. I mean, I kind of think the person might be onto something. There is no point. Okay, we're just arguing. Being concerned that there are no new dungeons is valid, but completely ignoring everything else and missing context deliberately is making this discussion meaningless. Cool. I love forums. I love the internet just in general, you know. We have the roadmap for this year. No new dungeons coming. If that's a deal breaker, I'm sorry. That's the way it is for this year. Maybe we'll get 4 new dungeons next year. Yeah, we don't need more dungeons. It's just wrong again. There aren't guilds based around having new companions, and I assume they're saying there's guilds based around dungeons. I mean, there's more trials guilds probably than dungeons, or as many. At least there were at one point, but there's also a tiny fraction of the actual number of dungeons. And we're not arguing there shouldn't be content for other folks to enjoy. It's really weird that you. Okay, all right. Let me see. Guys, I have to read through this because I got to find out where we're going with this. Minotaurs usually are. Oh my gosh. Um, I guess at some point I shared that Lariel calls me says that I'm a Minotaur in a tea shop here at the house. Before we go visit Donville on our food tour of the city, we need to get you outside so you don't burn it to a crisp. That's fair. Yeah. Definitely bring or buy some sombreros. Oh man, dude, I think we get legitimate ones up there. I don't think I can buy one here. Um, I am so far. Chicken says I'm so far behind in the ESO world. Hey man, we're getting you caught up. Yeah, I think I'm like 2 years behind on dungeons, and I used to spam them back in the 2010s. Okay, yeah. Nemi dungeons, dude. We got a lot of dungeons, man. We got a lot of dungeons. We need some new content. I'm excited for the solo dungeons. I don't like. I won't even do them that much. I'm excited for the solo dungeons because solo players and people that want to do that stuff need more content. We literally have had what 2 arenas, like 3 arenas. Sorry, is there 2? 2 arenas? Yeah. And then solo players do dungeons solo. They need more content, you know? It's just like tiny amount of content for solo players, insane amount of content for 4 players, and then like a decent amount of content for like trials players. It's just really outsized, you know. A little bit more balance there. You know, one of the other things with like one of the core problems with ESO right now that this team still hasn't addressed, because I don't know if they realize it's a problem. And it's weird saying this because a lot of these guys have worked there this entire time. They've worked at this company and on this game for longer than I've played ESO, and they don't understand, you know, what we understand about the game. But anyways, it's unfortunate. I guess I feel, you know, one of the big problems here is that, you know, yeah, we need more content for each group of players, but there's this huge gap between getting players into any kind of veteran content. And again, it's still a step function. It's not a smooth slope. Dungeons are one way that you can do that, as are arenas, mostly dungeons, because there's so many dungeons that if they put them in a level of difficulty, even you could go, hey, start here on normal, go on normal, and then at some point when you're doing like normal Unhollowed Grave or something else where there's actual mechanics, you take a step up and you're like, okay, now do veteran fungal. Actually, honestly, veteran fungal grotto is probably down here, but you know, do veteran something, you know, and then just a slow ramp in difficulty. And so I shouldn't do exponential. It should just be a slow ramp, to where players can learn to get better and then have difficulty, but it be still fun and what have you. And then like, oh, you know what? Running around with 6 shields is not working for me anymore. I think I need to do something different with my build. I might need to, you know what? If I did a little bit more damage, like I probably wouldn't need that 6th shield, or maybe even the 5th. I could drop that. Just and you know, if players want to run shield builds. It's not about shield builds. I don't care what they run, but like just and that's the thing that we don't have in ESO is it just goes, and that's why you have so few players that do veteran content. And you know, a huge part of this too is that the way the veteran trials guilds, there's still many out there that are like this, but a lot of the players used to be incredibly toxic. And what happened and what will happen with all of this stuff is ZOS actively supported those community and still does on some of them or would on some of them. I think some of those players have quit or stepped back from playing ESO. Most of them, many of them have, but a lot of them had very toxic communities. And I'm not talking about like, they're not Care Bears. I'm talking about like actively toxic communities, and ZOS would actively promote them. And so instead of being like, no, you can't be on our stream team if you're yelling at people on your stream about how stupid they are and why can't they do the fucking mechanic. No, you can't be on our stream team if you do that. But ZOS is, you know, not cared about any of that kind of stuff. They've only cared about they have audiences and maybe they'll help the game, but they didn't realize that the end result is if you feed into that toxicity is that anybody who's not toxic doesn't want to do that. And then you have a few places where it's like not toxic, right? And you know, now though a lot of those toxic people have gone, it's just that are they going to learn that lesson? I don't even think it's on their radar, but like that is a lesson they should learn, and they should also promote communities that aren't like that. You know, because they're out there and there's quite a few now, and there's more than there used to be, and things are a lot more accessible than they used to be too. So, and you know, I have friends that I'll run with and stuff like that, and they're accepting a behavior that I'm not okay with, and it has been and probably will continue to be in the future a point of conflict for us. And it's not even that they're doing things, it's that they're accepting, they're okay with behavior that I'm not okay with, and I just don't run with those groups or whatever. But yeah, anyways, that's you know, the difficulty curve, and then also like, you know, this happens. Ashes of Creation, their Discord, I've heard other creators finally, I've heard other creators point this out, but it's not a great place to be. I don't know I don't know what it's like currently, so maybe it's done a 180, but I don't think so, because I've heard people say stuff about just like blatant racism and stuff like that. I didn't have that, but I did have other stuff where people are just incredibly toxic. And I said something to the mods, and the mods were basically like, offered me a job, an unpaid job, and I'm like, no, I don't want an unpaid job moderating your server. I'm letting you know, I'm doing you a favor. So kind of wild, like, hey, do you want to help us mod it? And it's like, yeah. And then like, we're only on, you know, we only mod the server during this time. And it's like, dude, you don't mod the server during those times. Like, don't lie to me, you know? So, and some stuff that's just blatantly inappropriate, you know? And what happens is that people that don't want to deal with that, people that don't want to be attacked for no reason, for asking a question, for having a different thought than what, you know, is common for everybody, you just leave and you go away. And so then it becomes, you know, more toxic people get in there, and people that are on the edge will lean one way versus the other, you know? Yeah. Let me catch up on these comments and then we'll keep reading, guys. Yeah, I think I'm like 2 years behind on Dungeons. Oh yeah, sorry, read that. Mr. Krill says, I swear I saw my imagination version of Lily push Knight out the house while he tries to grab from whatever he can to avoid it. Oh my gosh. It impresses me how good the trials are, even though the general consent is that the devs don't understand the game. Yeah, the trials, I wish they would just put out, like, they could charge me. I don't know about you guys, but I would pay. I would have paid just for a trial. I mean, that's what we did every year, right? We bought the new DLC just for the trial. A lot of us that are just like hardcore trialists, a lot of us did that. I've said before that, you know, I'm surprised they even still do them because of how few people actually engage with trials. I hope that's changing. You know, last year sometime, maybe it was during the chapter update, they actually promoted trials and suggested them to people on the announcement stream. which was like the first time I've ever heard them do that. Maybe they did way back in the day, but when like the first one came out, or like or like the new Sanctum Ophidia or something came out, but it's been a long time, and I thought that was really cool. It is a problem from a developer standpoint to have aspects of your game that you've developed that nobody is engaging with, because it's like wasted time and wasted whatever. And I also worry sometimes, because again the difficulty is such a jump up from like normal to veteran, that they go, oh, nobody wants to ever do veteran content, and it's like, well, it's really about your process and why nobody wants to do veteran content. If you had a lot more trials, you could do the same thing you need to do with dungeons, which probably they should do that first, where they could have like a scale or whatever. Frog said, yeah, there's like no medium difficulty, basically. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's normal, which is like way down here, and anybody can do it, and the rules are made up, and nothing matters. Vet, and this is a cliff, and then there's an even bigger cliff, or just as big of a cliff, to hard modes for people. And rewards too. Like, there's no real reason to do vet. And the reason they do that is because a lot of players, they made the decision a long time ago. They said that they wanted people to experience all the story without having to do trials and group content. They want people to be able to do it solo, because they have people that are solo players. Like, I understand not forcing people into content, but I don't know. I think they could just do a lot better, as the TLDR. I am the Magi. What's going on? I've noticed that people are just afraid to join vet hard modes, even if I offer to explain everything. Yeah. For sure. That's definitely a thing. And I think that also is like the ramp up thing and knowing when you're prepared for it. So just as a for instance, last night when we were running, it was an open run. And I think it was just an open. Yeah. It was Friday night fun run. Nani's Friday night fun run. So just an open run, and like 8 or 9 of the people were like, hard mode players. Like, we finished Sunspire, and we went to Dreadcell Reef, and I want to say like 8 or 9 of the players had a lot of experience, if not clears, on hard mode Dreadcell Reef. And then we had one person that had never done vet trials before, and several people that were very new to them. And I think one of them was a healer. I could be wrong, but I think one of them was one of the healers. She was definitely very new, and she was like unsure of herself. And I looked at the logs. She was crushing it on. She had like 70k raw heals per second. She was casting all of her skills the appropriate number of times for the duration of the fight, so she wasn't overcasting anything. She was just doing everything right, and she had never run a vet trial. And it's like, this is somebody who was probably ready to do vet trials way before this, but I don't know if she didn't know or whatever. But yeah, there's no like medium to go. Yeah. I've noticed. I'm sorry, I'm going back. Yeah, the trial design team is pretty good. Yeah, and some of them have been amazing, and some of them have been eh. Yeah, my first couple years in the trial scene, there were so many toxic groups. Yeah. I mean, some of ZOS is just as toxic. So, yeah. Yeah, and it's weird seeing community people that are known for being pretty mean to people, like don't seem like great people. It's weird seeing them on. ZOS still puts them on. They were on the last stream, It's like some of these people don't have great reputations and like of being decent people, and ZOS still like puts them on their marketing team. I mean, 99% of people don't know, but for those of us who do, it's like, yikes. I love hard mode dungeons and trials. They make the game so good. I just wish people would do them more. Yeah. Well, I think that's game design, Like ZOS went back and they're like, we're gonna fix the new player experience, right? And they did such a bad job of it. And it was like, did anybody quality test this? I went back and played it after they did the refresh, and I had a bad experience. And I was like, man, if I was a new player, no. They did teach you about heavy attacks at least, and a few other things, but like other stuff was broken. Like I couldn't take the portals to the worlds that I had unlocked, and I was trying to use a controller and it wouldn't work. Like I couldn't use a controller, which I wanted to use a controller because I was having issues from being on a mouse and keyboard for too long. And yeah, anyways, it was a bad experience all the way around. And I made some content about it, and people were like, there were like fanboys who were like, oh, it's not that bad and you're exaggerating or whatever. It's like, no, if I was a new player, I would have quit by now and got a refund. Frog says, getting pulled into a DSR. All right, cool. Thanks. We'll catch you later, Frog. Hey, what's up, Vesh? Vesh says, heyo. I know for me, I don't like doing hard mode type content because if I'm playing a game, I just want to have fun. Yeah, not be sweaty. Too much effort, practice, homework to go into it with so many egos surrounding it. I'd only be interested if I was in a social group playing and we decided to try and learn on our own as a group sort of thing. Yeah, studying to do them kills any and all fun in it. Yeah, that's totally fair, man. And that's why they have normals. You know, normals you can kind of just run in and do. If you want to do them enough, like you'll learn it along the way. You can still do veterans without being sweaty and doing all the optimization stuff. But I do think that was again a very a lot of issues too with like the scaling and the difficulty and it being too hard for players. Again, the jump from normal to veteran is a cliff, and that being there, it shouldn't be there. And yeah, all those problems because you don't want to have to go in for most people and like study and learn and whatever. It shouldn't be like you're taking a test, you know? All right. Let me see. Zenonig. Maybe this also agree. Wait, here. What do we got here? I've been here from the start and enjoy this game a lot. With that said, I wish multiplayer online game. I wish as a multiplayer online game, if they didn't want to create new dungeons, that upgraded the old ones to have another level of difficulty instead of being solo. I feel this year's focus is very much on the single player and not on group content with guilds. This person doesn't seem to like, they think guilds and dungeons are the only thing there is. I don't think they've ever stepped a foot into a trial. It's a really interesting perspective. I feel that they would be a nice refresh to existing content that would bring higher levels back into old dungeons. I mean, that is fair. Again, these old dungeons are now obsolete for the most part. Yep, it's gross that the only updates to dungeons in an MMO is to make them single player. We would be totally stoked if they went through the existing dungeons and had higher hard mode levels with new challenging mechs, not just more damage and boss health. Yeah, so I don't think this person understands. This is like an interesting take, but I don't think this person understands. So most dungeons don't need new mechanics. They're just scaled to a level that this person doesn't know that they exist. Pretty much I've talked about this before. The old world dungeons, is it like Celine's Web, not Celine's Web. I don't know. Anyways, the oldest, Celine's Web is fine. That's actually a good example. But every single dungeon used to have DPS check. It does have DPS checks. It has mechanics. Most people don't even see them though because they burn through everything. So every mob in ESO that I'm aware of has a mechanic. Spindle Clutch. Thank you, Vatra. Yeah, Spindle Clutch 2, there's like a DPS check where the gargoyle jumps down and slams the ground. There is, isn't it Celine's Web where like somebody is like tied up, or maybe this is Spindle Clutch again, and they're dragged in, and if you don't do enough DPS, there's plenty of things like that. Similarly in Fungal Grotto, right? The second boss, I don't know if it's Fungal Grotto 1 or 2, where he chains someone down and then he's like slowly moving the sword, and you got to kill all 3. That's also Celine's, okay. And you got to kill, all 4 rather of the chains holding him down so that they don't die. There's mechanics in every single one of these trials. It's just that we don't see it. So it's not necessarily that they need new mechanics. They really do just need more damage and more boss health, and they would refresh most of them. Hey, what's up, Lenny? Lenny says, I might be late to this, but I think the difficulty ramp up is actually there, but there's no set out pathway to take it, to do it. Yeah. Like there's progressively more difficult content, but it's also all not in order. Yeah. That's basically what I said earlier, man. And I've said a couple of times now. Yeah. We're just kind of reading through this because I'm also trying to get to the point where, all right. So also agree here, although I generally in favor of a repeatable solo story mode for all dungeons. It has somewhat limited value. I already solo many of the dungeons, including some of the vet hard mode. So having additional options in the mid, higher end, or having the earlier base game dungeons upgraded to have the same standard of the last DLC dungeons would be something I'd like to have seen. maybe once the solo story is implemented, we'll see them revisit the difficulty of normal vet mode to bring things into some sort of alignment in the later DLC difficulties. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are just like hardcore into dungeons, which I'm sure is why they've done so many over time, because they probably look at the metrics. I think that they, if this, I don't know what the numbers are though. Like if this really is like a pretty big segment, probably, doing something for these players, or selling them on some of the new features. But I think solo dungeons are a great idea. So I don't know. As someone who has 15k hours on the game, there's nothing better than getting a Fungal Grotto 1 as a random normal. Takes 1 minute to clear. Yeah. Well, I've talked about that a bit before, the Magi. So, one of the issues, or one of the things that comes up is that, sorry, I'm just checking the time here. One of the things that comes up with that sort of thing is like, there's a lot of toxicity that's also because you have people that want to go in and have and read the story. And then you've got those of us who have 15k hours in the game who want to run through and be done in a minute and get our transmutes and whatever our daily rewards are. Those daily rewards should not be attached to that content, so it forces players with 15,000 hours in the game to play with players that just leveled up. And I think that is a big problem with the reward system and the daily rewards. I don't think that by forcing those two groups of people into the same content who want vastly different things out of the experience, I think it ruins the experience for both of them typically, mostly for the new players. And, those two groups, I've talked about this quite honestly, it's worth having that longer conversation. Maybe we should have it sometime and have it again and talk about it, but they just shouldn't be had in the same place. So doing a random veteran daily dungeon should give enough rewards that the players that can run through a random veteran dungeon want to do it. Probably like 50 transmutes and whatever else. But and then if people want to go in there and do that, they can do it, and there's a reason to do it. And if it takes you 5 minutes now, it's worth it. It's a little bit hard because the numbers, are a little bit weird. Like you have to really give those players a reason to go in there. But I think some of us would do it because it's like, well, this is a chore doing, wasting literally wasting my time just to get this reward at the end versus doing something that's fun and also getting a reward at the end. So Vatra says, vet dungeons were the most fun part of the game for me. Cool. This is a difficult feeling I've often gotten recently from the game as a whole. I know that The Elder Scrolls is a single-player franchise, and that was originally where I came from. I understand the desire to have a lot of single-player content in ESO, but lately it has felt like there's been more and more of a push to make all of ESO single-player content to push out the players who came for the MMO part of the game. We're seeing a lot more emphasis placed on the stories and questing, the quality of those notwithstanding, and the single-player experiences, and very little in terms of group content. Even the subclassing really felt like it went in that direction. I don't know if this is what's actually happening, but I get that these people definitely feel like it is happening. So that's kind of unfortunate. That's a communication problem. The please give us feedback on subclassing and scribing thread did ask questions in a way that presumed subclassing was empowering people to complete content they couldn't before, i.e. being able to solo things. It does feel like the focus of ESO's multiplayer content is more things like world bosses and world events where a bunch of people show up and play as a Zerg of soloists instead of a group. Look also at Vengeance at the current favored PvP mode or the chaos that was the Writhing Fortress. And what are we seeing in 2026? Another event zone that really sounds mostly like another all-server thing like the Writhing Fortress was. More stories to do solo. So this isn't true. Maybe this is where the dev is going to pop in. This isn't true. Like I get that they feel that this is the thing, but it's objectively not true. They have group content in there. Existing dungeons that are already soloable being made easier to solo. It honestly feels like the trial is the odd thing out here, and that's probably only because that's the expected thing to add. Yeah, Yeah, yeah. I'll bring it up again if the game is going more and more into a solo game. That's going to happen to the player base when the Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, if that ever comes out. ESO, if it's going to coexist with the Elder Scrolls 6, needs to offer things that it doesn't. That means questing and solo content is redundant. We are unlikely to have things like MMO dungeons in the Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, so this is there's some valid points here. I think that what you really it's kind of missing the conceptual understanding of what an MMO is and what makes a good MMO. Um, what makes first of all, there's a lot of things. It's a broad category, what have you. But generally speaking, what you want in an MMO, what makes an MMO is you have players who all have different interests and different things they want, and they're all playing the same game and able to interact with each other. Not all grouping up, not all solo, but they're able to interact. And I think that that really is the one of the major issues a bit in ESO. Um, they have those things, they exist, they could all be better is what it comes down to. Right? So like the idea is you might have someone who likes to run around and pick flowers. Well, they like to pick flowers. Oh, sometimes they want to buy some things, with gold or whatever. Cool. Okay, well, if I like picking flowers, then I can sell that on the market and I have gold now to buy the things I want to buy. That's great. It picks flowers, gets those into the market. People who don't want to pick flowers can buy them and can use them to make potions or whatever they want to make. And then you get an economy. That's what makes an MMO. You have the more players that you can get interested in your game that can all do different things. And some people, generally speaking, nobody does just one thing. It's very rare, but they'll have several things they do. And you have this essentially this, buffet of things, and everybody grabs the things they want. There's some decent overlap, and cool things you can do is introduce things that more people want to get into. And ideally, you don't have anything that like nobody's touching, because then it's taking up room on your buffet, if you will, which is development time and everything else. And you want that. You want everybody on, getting something from that. And you also have like interactions with those things too, which is like why you have trading and what have you. And there's problems with all that. Like there's problems with trading in ESO, and there has been for a long time, and what have you. So, am I still never gonna find this? All right, we'll keep it. Luna says, in my experience, dungeons were fun until I experienced trials. Then dungeons felt underwhelming. If it happens to get rich, if I happen to get rich at any point in life for any reason, I'll hire you to make an MMO for me tonight. Wait for it. Okay, sounds good, Luna. I'm there. I'm here for it. Hey, if we could ever blow up this channel, I'll do it myself. I'm not dismissing anything. Concerns are valid, as I said. I'm just trying to point out why it's good for the diversity in this game. That they hit the pause button for new dungeons instead of give us other types of group content that was highly neglected in the last decade, while the dungeon community gets 36 dungeons in the last years. Yeah, it was about time to get another type of group event. Even if there's no new dungeons this year, you'll get a trial. But what can I say? That's how it is this year. They even communicated this possibility last year when they announced the transition from chapters to seasons. PvP players don't get nothing besides a new reward track. Sorry, that language is kind of funny. They haven't even talked about yet. These players have been neglected, and I'm sure there are many PvP guilds as there are as many PvP guilds as dungeon guilds. So again, mood argument. Okay, they're dismissing the new types of group content without even knowing what they are. Maybe you'll like it then, and there are good replacement for this year, or at least maybe not. Just wait until we have more information and try them as they won't cost you anything. If you don't like them, I'm sure you'll get a new dungeon on the roadmap for next year. Oh man. Wrong again. There is no overworld event / world, etc. content that compares to dungeons. It will not be as fun. Man, this person is like hardcore into dungeons. I think this person is probably not going to be happy no matter what, unless they're just given even more dungeons and they've gotten a lot. It can't just be the dungeon game, right? Then hire me if that's the case, please. 1,000%, Luna. I will. I've actually So I don't really do New Year's resolutions, but if I did one, besides getting the bunny camera going here, that's one of them. I'm spending a day a week, and I'm gonna try to hold myself to that. Just working on like game design stuff this year. That's my goal, and I'll share that with you guys eventually. Um, I'm more interested. It's more doable to do some tabletop stuff right now, so that's what I'm kind of focusing on. But I'm also interested in some digital stuff. So at some point, when I have a good idea of some things to roll out with, I'll hit you guys up. I'll let you know. I'm glad we're getting any new dungeons. We're not getting any new dungeons this year. All right. In the past years, we were stuck behind ESO Plus, so most players never did them or even know they existed. That's a good point. Or even on normal, they were so difficult. Most people do them once or twice and never again. Wow. Even on normal, they were so difficult. That's probably an average player here. So if you're not on when they release, good luck ever finding a group to do DLC dungeons. This is also the problem with Elder Scrolls not teaching players about how to play the game. I'm glad the devs have chosen to focus on stuff than to keep making stuff only a few people will ever interact with. Yeah. Guys, we got all right. This is from the community manager? Let's see what Jessica has to say. Hi all. We've seen some questions, concerns about no new group dungeons or new story zone on the season's roadmap. While this is true, there is challenging PvE group content and new quest/story content coming to ESO this year. It's just not coming in the way a dungeon DLC and by way of a new dungeon DLC and a new zone, like it always has in the past. So, with seasons, we'll be delivering more types of experiences that may look a little different than what we've done before. This is all good news. Hey, I just joined. Can you spend 55 minutes repeating everything? Hey, Daedric, what's up, man? Dude, you might have to. Am I going to find this in here? Yeah, it is. Okay, this is. Dude, we literally have just been slowly scrolling down to get to this point to actually talk about the thing, man. So, you're good, man. I thought the conversation was interesting, but you didn't miss anything that's gonna ruin anything. I spent some time developing a Ragnarok online private server and a TTRPG system. That's the furthest I went, but I had incredible fun doing it. That's awesome. Cool. So let me see. Where are we at? While this is true, there is challenging PvE group content, new quest/story coming to ESO this year. It's just not coming the way of a dungeon DLC and a new zone like it's always been in the past. Okay. With seasons, we'll be delivering more types of experiences that may look a little different than what you've done before. I think a lot of what you're seeing above, people just hate stuff that is new. When something is new, most people, their reaction is to not like it. And even if they don't know anything about it, even if they hear good things about it, most people, new is bad. And I do think that's some of what's going on. And that doesn't mean new dungeons or story zones are off the table forever for seasons. Okay. So it's not less, just different. One example that we haven't talked about yet, but you will see when Night Market comes out on PTS this month, there are three 4-player instances with one boss encounter and one 12-player trial encounter. One boss in that zone. Cool. So this is the mini trial that we're getting in the Night Market. And also, like, like that's essentially a dungeon, or however you want to like add this up. I think that's cool. We had a studio playtest today, and we could also attest that the Night Market encounters are quite challenging. I want to know more info. Was this on normal? Was this on vet? Because I bet it was on normal, and I bet it was difficult for a lot of these players, a lot of the developers. I'd like to know more. The Night Market is a unique experience, and while it isn't a new dungeon or trial, we think it'll scratch that same itch. I mean, it kind of is a mini trial. I hope this one boss... We don't know anything about the one boss. I want to know if there's veteran mode. I want to know if there's hard mode. I want to know how complicated it is. By the way, guys, I have a sign up. We're going to do this on Monday as a group, so if anybody would like to join, there's a sign up in the Discord. On the new quest and story side of things, similarly, we do have new content coming between the Thieves Guild and Sheogorath major quest lines. The Night Market is it also has a full story and quest and new trial, the High Seas of Tamriel in-game event. as well as a new story content tied to systems old and new that we haven't expanded upon yet. The solo dungeon coming in Season 2 will also provide great opportunity for players to enjoy story and haven't yet had a chance to experience the dungeon stories before, starting with Moonhunter Keep and March of Sacrifices. Yeah. I mean, I think this is like I really like this, guys. I'm really positive on just about all of this stuff, to be totally honest with you. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm saying they're doing a lot of good things. Love listening to you as I play some games. Hey, phone gonna die. Take care. All right, thanks, I the Majay. Thanks for dropping in, and I appreciate the compliments, the kind words. Yeah, so we're getting a 12 player trial encounter. It's weird. Why didn't they call it a mini? Because like, is a mini trial? Did they ever use that language? That's what we all call them, right? You guys are you guys familiar with mini trial? I said mini trial to some friends, ESO friends earlier, and they didn't know what I was talking about. I was debating about this. I didn't know that I wasn't sure about the wording here because like they do say trial, but like, is it not a trial? What is it? I don't know. I'd like to know if there's difficulties. Calling it a trial encounter and not a mini trial too is like, is it going to be kind of like a world boss thing? Because a world boss thing, but in 12-man form, I don't know. It depends how long it is. That's essentially a mini trial. So by any other name, what do you think, Daedric? But anyway, like it's cool. We're gonna get several of them, and we're gonna get some 4-player stuff for the people that are super upset. I want to know if anybody that was like mad up top like came back and was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." Thank you for the additional information on the night market. I'm glad to hear we weren't forgotten, but I'm worried this will be another Bastion Mimic situation. Bastion Mimics are 4-person, but certainly not dungeons. Are these instants for 4 people? I thought these were overland. Anybody clarify this for me? The Bastion Mimics? I don't usually ever do this stuff because it's usually too easy. I did it like once. For context on the kinds of things we do, my dungeon guild supports dungeons for pledges, challenges, hard mode progs, trifectas, motif farming on hard mode, and masks farm, sometimes also on hard mode. But we also support Black Rose Prison and Infinite Archive. I think they're being cagey about the description because it does it does something experimental and isn't a conventional trial. Hopefully we're not getting baited with a slightly harder world boss. Yeah, I guess that will be the question. I hope that the difficulty, at least optionally, will truly be high enough for those of us who do hard mode dungeons, and it wouldn't just be a veteran level burn fest. I don't expect Black Gem Foundry trifecta level of difficulty from a temporary event, but something around Lepsaclusa hard mode would be nice. Did they get a response? Will there be any new things contain new assets, new music, new voices, new outfits? Or will they be set in existing repurposed maps and zones without new major art additions? So it is, in fact, less stuff. Zones are more than just 16 or so story quests. Did some people? Oh, Finn here jumped in. Okay. Without going into too much detail, because you will see it soon on PTS, Night Market is a brand new type of zone that started with a group focus. I mean, if the whole thing is group focus, that's cool. There are activities solo players can do, but they will be hard pressed to get to these activities without at least following groups of players around. The pack pools you normally would see in Overland are amped up there, and there are lots of challenging monsters in the more open sections as well as the instant sections. The goal is to give groups of players more activities in a dedicated zone where they can just go and have fun. For instance, one piece of internal feedback from someone that plays regularly in Dungeon and Trials was that they appreciated having activities for asymmetric group comps. If you only have 5, 6, or 7 people online, you can jump into the night market and have a good time. The problem with this is that when it first comes out, there's going to be 1 million people there, so it's going to be completely trivial. And then when people move on, I guess it's going to be temporary, so maybe it'll be gone. I guess like it's dead. Having open world stuff in an MMO, you need to do more stuff than I don't know of any game that has ever scaled this well. Either there's not enough people. I mean, every once in a while you get that perfect amount. You get like just enough people to make it fun and difficult, but that you can still get through it. More likely, everybody's light attack and the thing is dying in 2 seconds, or it's you and one other person and you can't even do it. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just happy this is free, and I'm sure it's not really that hard since it has to fit every player, but it is going to be harder than current Overland for sure. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Krill. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. It looks like Finn responded again. So grouping is not necessary at all, as is having a fixed group of like 4-player dungeons, or some instance locations within the market where it's needed. I'm wondering, since I've seen how chaotic and unorganized the Writhing Fortress was, where people were just running around killing things, but many didn't have a clue what was going on. Even more so since they joined when some parts were already finished and some bosses have already been killed by other people. I also wonder how this situation can be avoided. People entering in the middle of it and missing content because of that, or arriving when half the location is already dead. Very valid questions. The zone is open with a smaller player cap and much harder content. We don't force you to group to enter, but to do the content you will want to. People are not going to do this. There are instances, though, within that are capped at 4 players, like dungeons, and 12 players. Much like Dungeons and Trials. You can even enter solo, but good luck. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I hope it's cool. Yeah, I'm not going to read through the rest of this, guys. Well, we came, we read, we saw what they had to say. We'll see on Monday. We'll see. Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe it'll be awesome. We'll just have to wait and see. And like Don Bull says, or like Mr. Krill here says, it's free, so that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. You guys got any thoughts? Time for night to start running some dungeons. Dude, probably not, man. I talked about it before you got here. I want to see the dungeon core. Dude, I mean, you just run through and kill stuff, man. It's usually not that serious. Time to post some garbage videos. Solo player blows up 12-man raid boss. Gone wild. I would do it if it were fun, man. I used to enjoy them back in the day, but then they doubled our DPS, and now it's like, what are we even doing? I mean, I'll try these. I guess I'll do these or something. I guess it's one boss. I don't know what that'll be like. Maybe it'll be cool. DPS is absurd now. Yeah, that's my problem. And I was talking about it before you got here, Lenny. Like how even the old world dungeons, because one of the comments here was somebody that like, oh, if they need to refresh the old world dungeons. I don't know where it was, but they were saying that they needed to refresh them, but like not just add HP and damage. They need to actually add mechanics. And I was just pointing out how that person is wrong, and probably just because they don't understand that all the old world dungeons have mechanics. They really just do need HP and DPS because they already have mechanics. Just nobody knows that because they're so easy and you just blow through them so fast. So. Doing the Crypt Cannon nukes on dungeons is fun, but clearing almost every boss in less than 20 seconds is concerning. Yeah, literally. I'll probably run around solo on Monday and see how hard it actually is. Also test out Red Beam, man. Yeah, cool. Daedrix is going to be running around like a red dragon, breathing fire everywhere. Cool. Yeah, we'll be streaming on Monday. We'll have the raid later on. I think it's scheduled for 8 right now. I think a couple of people might want it moved to 6 Mountain Time, which is 10 and 8 Eastern Time. But we'll have to see how many people we get and what's going on. I remember when Banish Cells 2 hard mode was a pug killer. Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Good old days. Yeah. So, like, they really do just need to, refresh that content like they could. um, and offer a lot of it back. I mean, not that they want to take it away because it is part of that skill now for people where like that's how they can get better or whatever. So you wouldn't want to take it away necessarily, but yeah. The old dungeons are fun. Just scale it up. Yeah, yeah. Damage gets absurd if you do it. Oh, sorry. Luna says, Knight, not sure if you're aware, but Languid ramps up in damage, and if you crit candidate in a dungeon, you can cast the second one and continue ramping up the damage from where the first ulti stopped. I had someone asking me about that the other day, Luna, and I was like, I don't know. That's funny. That's wild. That's probably not intended, is it? And if you combo that with Crow Dot passive, it goes crazy. Oh man. Yeah, what is Crow 15 or 20%? 15? It's a lot. Yeah, that is nuts. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like a lot of these overworld, so we've already seen Zos try to do some interesting overworld thing with a Writhing Wall event, and I think everybody generally agrees that it sucked. It wasn't good. And you have these same things. I I think you can do it. I think you can do something cool. I think it's possible. I don't think we've seen it yet in an MMO overland that makes sense and is fun like this. Ashes of Creation has also claimed they're going to do this, and I just don't have any faith that they're going to do it. Having mostly open overworld dungeons, especially with PvP. Um, Luna, guys, if you want to hear like someone who's more positive on Ashes, Luna's the person. I've just, I just the more I see them going back on promises they've made and stuff they said they were going to do, the more skeptical I am, and the more I think that they are just blowing smoke. Um, but we haven't ever seen a MMO do overworld events that I have ever seen that is in like a way that's actually fun, and the chances that Zos does it is like feels pretty low to me. I think it can be done. I think it can be done. I think that there are probably some. I think some of what you would want to do is have multiple players do different things and actually like lead them in a particular direction. I have the positives, but I gotta be real. The game is griefing is a griefing fest. Yeah, Ashes is a scam. It is. I don't know if I would go so far. Yeah, I mean it is kind of scammy in some ways. I don't know if I would go. It's not as bad as some, I guess. I don't know. I think that Steven Sharif has some real ideas of what he'd like to make the game, um, but they've lied about some things. They lied about the no purchase price because they have one. They've also they said one of the core things they said is like, oh yeah, the best coolest stuff is going to be available in game, and that's not at all true. It's all in the cash shop. They put a cash shop in the fucking alpha. That's a huge red flag. There's a cash shop in the alpha. You don't test stuff and put a cash shop in the alpha. That's like one of the biggest red flags I can think of. It's kind of insane. I just never that would never be on my bingo card of things they would do because it's insane. And it does feel like Store Citizen. They got to figure out this PVX thing better because right now it's not pleasing either PvP or PvE players. Yeah, but the concept of the game and how it plays is very cool. Not going to lie. Yeah, the concept is cool, but Steven has been talking about the core of the game being the PVX thing and how that would work out. And he had these supposedly really well fleshed out ideas, and they've turned out to suck. And they also haven't tried iterating on them. They also don't that like their current quest system is like go kill 20 goblins and there's barely any quests. Um, so that sucks and that's like super old school. There's no content out in the world. It's mostly empty. It's a grind fest for everything, including even like harvesting materials. So it kind of seems like only the players that want to know life it and not have fun want to play. And when you're doing that, as Luna pointed out, it's a grief fest. Someone could just come kill you. I couldn't care less about quests. I'm happy there's none. Um, I Yeah, but it's an MMO, and you have to have people that want to do more than one thing if you're going to have an MMO. That's the problem. That's the problem. It's basically appealing to one hardcore group of players that like one particular thing, and a lot of the things they like are griefing, which does go along with how toxic their Discord is. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. I I feel had. I will say that, that's for sure. Um, I mean, even just like the basics of unlocking stuff, you got to have quests for that, right? Or you don't, but you have to have a system to unlock stuff. And right now they have like the most, and I know it's supposedly temporary, but are they ever going to get around to it? Like the story, there is no story. Sure, Steven has some idea in his head about what the story is, but we haven't seen anything about it. Like, are they just suddenly going to come in with a brand new story system that's going to tell you about everything? That's also part of what I mean by questing, is like questing is the story as well. There's two things that I hate: massive PvP, it's never fun for me, and unbalanced PvP in terms of gear. Yeah. Hey, what up, Franny? What's going on? All right, guys. Let me, guys. I'm gonna bio real quick, and then I think we're gonna jump over to some Civ 7. I know that won't be everybody's cup of tea. So for those who are dipping out, I appreciate you guys for hanging out. For those who are sticking in, we'll be right back. I'm gonna finish. Luna's got a comment here. I don't get the type of PvP player that likes to grind for his life to get the best in slot gear and one-shot people in PvP. Is that really a PvP player? Luna, so many people would love that because they really just want to grief. They don't actually want fun and fair PvP, which has also long been the issue with PvP and MMOs. If you have a group of people that can get the better gear and have the better gear so they can kill people easily, that's what they want. They want to grief other players. And that's I wonder if that's not a huge part of the Ashes community. That's like the hardcore player base. It has seemed like to me for a long time that there's a group of people, honestly, it seems like most of the community early on, and I imagine there's a bunch of people that come in, but a large part of the community that really wanted that they wanted to be rewarded for spending 40 hours a week playing the game, um, and they want to be rewarded that and get the benefits of that and be able to just hate on anybody who didn't spend 40 hours playing the game. And so basically like a game designed only for the hardcore players. And I just think that's wild. Like there's nothing to be proud about like kind of wasting your life, like it needs to be fun, needs to be fun for everybody and what have you. So I don't know. I don't know. And it's crazy that, like some of Steven's core ideas aren't working and they haven't iterated on them, right? Like they got to get that right and they haven't iterated on it because they're trying to get the basic bones of a game to start with. So I have questions. I hope they pull it out. I just become more and more skeptical each day. All good. Hope you are too, man. I am, and good tea. Thanks. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. Yeah, let me do that. Oh my God, let's get off this super bright screen here. I'll go ahead and cue this up, and I'm gonna kick to a commercial, and I'm gonna bio, and then we'll be right back. But everybody who's dipping out, guys, appreciate you for tuning in. I'm excited for the mini trial on Monday. We'll see how it goes. All right, we'll be right back. Oh, that's the wrong bunny. Be right back. Where's the bunny cam? There we go.
The past is more than what we leave behind. we celebrate our triumphs and bury our regrets. Every age has its secrets. In each layer of history, we can rediscover hope. A way to chart our future. Countless stories are carved into the Earth's strata. The lessons of one age augur the next. We must learn from our past. The future is waiting.
All right, guys. Let me end the stream here on YouTube and kick you guys over to the new one. Huh, had a weird error there. There we go. All right. Yeah, I think we're good. I'll kick you guys over on YouTube, and we'll see you in just a second on the new stream. And if you're on Twitter,